Hi guys, Juice here. I am here to film my September book haul. Now for today's video, I'm going to be showing off all the books that I got in the month of September. I don't know how many I have here, but I do have 2 stacks. Some of these books I got from book subscription boxes. I got as books for trade. Since I joined Facebook, I've been loving that Facebook group. And then a lot of these were pre-orders because there was amazing new releases that came out. The first 6, I think, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. The first 7 books I have either am currently reading or I have already read, and I will talk more about them in my October wrap up. So I'm just going to fly through these first 7 books here that I want to talk about today. The first book is one I'm currently reading. Is my physical read of the week, and that is Horrid by Katrina Leno. This is a new release that came out this month, and was really anticipating this one because I heard from Lala over at Books and Lala. I think I mentioned that in one of my other videos. I am really intrigued by this book just because of how creepy this cover is. I already shown this off in one of my chiller thriller readathon. But I wanted to read this book this month because of the chiller thriller readathon that was happening, and I did started it. I'm not that far into it, but I am, as you can tell, a good chunk into the book. Not as much as I would like to, but I would definitely be reading more of this tonight after I film this video and edit this video for you guys. This is about our main character named Jane, and she moves from Los Angeles to Maine, and she moves because of a family death, and she goes and lives in this north mansion, and she lives there, and then there's someone inside the house, or so she thinks so, and so there's a mystery or solving that they had to solve around that. So I really am enjoying this so far. I'm 60 pages into this, and hopefully I can finish this one up this weekend, and it will be in my October wrap-up. I'm going to put the books up there just because I feel like it's better to display the books. The next book, I started this book earlier this month because I wanted to get this book read, but I felt a little slumpy, so I put this book down, and that is A Golden Fury by Samantha Cohen. I cannot speak today. This is an arc that I've been reading for quite a while now. This book already came out. It came out on October 13th, which was 2 weeks ago. And I'm really enjoying this book, but it's just like, it's very science heavy, and I'm not really like a huge science geek. So that's kind of like making me not want to read this book, which sounds super bad, but like this premise just sounds amazing. It's set in 1792 France. A teenage alchemist is on the verge of a life-changing discovery, but the cost may be her very own mind. I really enjoyed the first 6 chapters that I read, and I bought the audiobook for this one through Audible, and I had a couple credits saved up, so I used one of my credits for this, so hopefully either this weekend or I'll save this for November and restart this book in November. I will read this one soon because I really want to get a review out for this book because I really enjoyed what I read of it so far. So on to the next book. So the next book I have is a graphic novel, and that is Teen Titan Beast Boys by Kimmy Garcia and Gabriel Piccolo. I'm sorry if I butchered that name. This is a second book in the series is what I meant to say. I knew nothing about going into this one. I just bought it because I loved the first one, which was Teen Titan Raven, and I gave that first one a 5 stars. I read this one this month. I won't give you my rating because I want to save the suspense for my October wrap-up. Just know I really enjoyed this one. The artwork in here was really amazing. I believe he's the same artist for the Teen Titan Raven one, if I'm not wrong. But it's all like green and like, it's just really cool. I really enjoyed it. I read this in 2 days only because work got in the way of my reading for this one. So I really enjoyed this, and I hope to read more from Kimmy Garcia. Then the next book I have is a mystery thriller that I read this month, and I'm really excited that I read this one because it was one of my books I was anticipating, but I sadly didn't ended up loving this one as much as I thought it would, and that is One by One by Ruth Ware. This is Ruth Ware's newest novel, and I read this one, and I will again save my reading for the October wrap up that I'm going to film soon. But this one I just was sadly disappointed by. I don't know if it's because I hyped it up myself too much, or if there's still a lot of hype around this one, because this one just came out this month. This one is a new mystery thriller from Ruth Ware. She's a famous author, obviously, and I knew nothing about this book going into it. All I know is that during an avalanche, and these people are trapped in this hotel, and then there's a murder mystery happening throughout that sequence. There was a lot of character depth in this, and I wasn't expecting that going into a Ruth Ware novel. I don't know why I wasn't expecting it, but I wasn't. So I'm really sadly didn't love this one, but I will keep it just because it's a book of the month, and it matches the Turn of the Key up here. So I'm really enjoyed. I'm hoping I will love her other new books whenever she has the next one coming out. And then the next book that I read was Grown by Tiffany D. Jackson. This was my first book by Tiffany D. Jackson, and I really enjoyed this one as well. Again, I won't say what rating I gave it because I want to save this for my wrap-up, but I will talk more about this one in my wrap-up, and I really enjoyed this one. Grown is about our main character named Enchanted Jones, and she wants to be this famous singer. She wants to be like the next Beyonce, and they mention a lot of music throughout this, and I really enjoyed this. I actually buddy read this with my friend Heather, and I'll talk more about my thoughts and feeling in my October wrap-up. So the next two books I read, of course, so I'm just going to show you them, and that is Mexican Gothic by Sylvia Morona Garcia. This is a murder mystery adult thriller novel as well that I got from Book of the Month, and I was really happy that I was able to read this one. I read One by One for the Literally Dead book club that Lala over at Books and Lala is hosting, and then I also read Mexican Gothic this month because Amy from The Court of Rings and Ruins on Instagram and Mel to the N-E, they have their Dragon and Tea book club, so I read this for the Dragon and Tea book club, and I really enjoyed this one. The beginning of this one was a little slow, but then the ending, I was like, yes, I love the ending of this one. So I'll talk more about this one in my wrap-up as well. Then I have Skyhunter by Mary Lou. This is a book that came out at the very end of September, so this was the first book I read for the month of October. I just love this cover. It's so pretty, and like on this like end pages right here it says Skyhunter. I buddy read this with my friend Lori, and Lori, if you're watching this, you can let my viewers know we cannot put this book down. I really enjoyed this book. It's definitely a new favorite from Mary Lou, and I can't wait for the sequel to come out soon. Now going on to the next couple books that I have here are books that I haven't read yet, so I'm just going to show them off to you. This next one will be Exposing Myrene Light, and that is The Other Side of the Sky by Amy Kaufman and Megan Spooner. These are the same author duos who wrote the Skyworld. Let's see. The Starbound trilogy, which I read back in my junior year of high school, and I really love that trilogy, so I'm really looking forward to reading this one. This one I know nothing about, except it says, a living goddess searches the sky, desperate for hope. A crown prince falls to the earth looking for answers, both destined to save their world or destroy them completely. I know Michael from Michael Book Lion and from Epic Reads really was hyping this one up, so I bought it because of Michael. So Michael, I blame you on this one. The next book is one of my other book of the month picks, and actually my DNF for the month of October. I know, shocking, a DNF. And that is Anxious People by Frederick Bachman. This was my first Frederick Bachman book, and I don't know if this was a good place to start for his works, but I love the short chapters in here. But I tried to buddy read this one with my friend Lori as well, and we just could not get into it. It was very like morbid and kind of sad novel than we were expecting, because most of his books are really lighthearted and like fast to read, and why this was still fast, it was just a book that I don't think I was ready to read. So I took a break from this one, and I might pick this one up by the end of the year, or I might just give this to one of my bookstores that will let me deliver, or give this to my library. But yeah, this one I sadly didn't enjoy. And then the next book that I have for this book haul is a new release that came out on the 1st this month, and that is As the Shadows Rises by Katie Rose Poole. This is the sequel to There Will Come a Darkness, which I read earlier this year, and I really enjoyed that one. I gave the first book a 4 out of 5 stars, and I'm really excited to read this one. I think I want to do a reread of the first book though, and then jump into this one since I have the sequel now, because I read the first book back in January or February of this year, and like I said, I really enjoy it. If you love Six of Crows and Star Wars, you would definitely love this series. Again, I haven't read this one yet, so I don't know how I will feel about this, but it was one of my most anticipated reads of 2020, so I was able to snag a copy. The next book I got from a Facebook group, and for this, I was able to get this book for free because I told the person I have ARCs, but they were ARCs that she wasn't interested in, and she gave this one free to me because I really I told her that I met the author before and I read this one already, and I loved the author, and she was like, from one fan to the next, here's a free copy of her book, and that is American Royals by Catherine McGee. This is a book that came out last year around September, and I read it during December. I read it during the holidays, and I really loved it. I think I gave it like a 4 or 5 stars. I can't remember exactly, but I do want to reread it because the sequel just came out in September, and I completely forgot that the sequel was coming out this year, because it said it was going to be pushed back to December or January, so I was like, oh yeah, I'll just save it for next year. But it actually got pushed back up to September, so it's out now, and I do have my hands on the sequel, so spoiler alert for my October book haul. But yeah, this is a book I already read this month. Not this month, but I've already read this book in my book haul, so this will be a reread for me whenever I get around to it. And then the next couple of books I got for trade. These first 2 I got from my friend Kat, who I'll leave her Instagram page down below, and that is Alex Approximately by Jen Bennett, and The Upside of Unrequited by Becky Albertalli. I believe this one is from Owl Crate, or from some book subscription box, because it has a book plate signed by Becky Albertalli. I can't remember if this was from Owl Crate or not. Oh, I did not even look at the back. The back had a sticker in it. That's cool. Yeah, so there's a letter from the author right here that I didn't even knew about. And there was a sticker, so I'm not sure where this was from, but I saw that Kat had it, and this was the only Simon Verse novel that I didn't own. So I was like, if you want, I can take these contemporaries off my hand. And also, spoiler alert for my October wrap-up, I've been in the mood for contemporaries for some reason, so these came perfectly in time for me to read my contemporary. So this one I already read the year it came out, and I really enjoyed it. And then this one I haven't read yet, but I'm really excited to see what all the hype is about from Jen Bennett. And then these next 2 books, one of them is a very gorgeous edition, and one of them is a book that I haven't heard of before, and that is The Pan by Jenny Hickman. This one is really like classic looking edition, if that makes sense. I really don't know anything about this except it's a Peter Pan retelling, and the way that my friend Charlie, who I love to talk about on my channel, when they talked about this book, I was like, sold, sign me up. And so they were like, well, I already read it, so do you want to have the copy next? I was like, if you don't mind. So they sent me this my way, and I'm really excited. I'm gonna save this for Christmas because it just feels like a perfect classic story to read during the holidays. So I'm real excited to start this one. And I don't know if Jenny Hickman is a popular author or not, but I just love this green on this cover. But yeah, I really am excited to start this one, hopefully. That's the key word for this book haul, I think. No, stay up. I hate when paperbacks don't stay up. And then the next book I already have, but I'm giving my copy to my friend Taylor whenever we go book shopping. And this one is Infinity Sun by Adam Severa. Yes, I already own a copy of this because I shown it off in my January book haul. But here's why I got another copy of Infinity Sun. Look at these sprayed edges. Oh my goodness, it's so pretty. That's the whole reason why I wanted to get this off of Charlie hand. And Charlie, I don't know why you wanted to unhaul this book, but why? It's so pretty. I am real excited to read this. This has been sitting on my TBR ever since I got this book back in January, and I don't know why I haven't picked this one up yet, but maybe if I buddy read this with my friend Taylor, I'll probably enjoy this one. The next book I got is another pretty edition, and that is A Deadly Education by Naomi Novak. Now, I was debating if I wanted to put this in my September book haul or my October book haul, because although this came out in the month of September, I didn't got my copy until October. So I was like, what the heck, I'll just put it in my September book haul. So A Deadly Education is the first book in the Skullmances series, and I've been hearing mixed reviews about this book. I know nothing about this book at all, but this pretty, like, non-dust jacket edition, and, like, the key, also these edges again, and then there's also, if you can't tell at the bottom, there's also a ribbon that came with the book, and then this is just, like, the thank you card that came in the box. I got this edition from Owl Crate. I don't know if I mentioned that already, so it has pretty end pages. And then it's also signed by Naomi Novak, and that's really cool because this is my first book by the author. I've been wanting to read a book by this author, but I just didn't know what book to start with. So I'm going to be reading this in November for a secret TBR that I have planned. So I'm real excited to read this one. It's super shorter. It's a lot shorter than I anticipated, but that's okay. I'm hoping it will be a good one for me, and again, I've been hearing mixed reviews on this, so hopefully it's a good one. Next is a third and final book in a trilogy, and that is The Shadow Crosser by J.C. Cravent. This is the third and final book in the Stormrunner trilogy. I wanted to reread the Stormrunner this year in order to finally pick up book 2 and book 3, so I wanted to support this author because I loved the first book that she wrote. And so I bought book 2 and 3. I bought book 2 last year, and then I just bought book 3 this year. And I'm real excited to read this one, and I'm hoping it would be a good wrap-up to this series, because I read 19 series in 2020 so far, which is amazing. So I'm hoping to add this one on my list. The next one is a sequel that came out on September 1st, and that is Blood and Honey by Shelby Mahernon. I already shown this book off on my channel, and it's very pretty, and again, another book from Epic Reads. This is a highly anticipated sequel for a lot of people. I read Sip and a Dove earlier this year, and I really enjoyed it, so I'm really excited to jump into this one. I don't want to know anything about this one except that our main characters are back. So, and again, it's super shiny, so sorry about that. The next one also came out on September 1st, and that is Punching the Air by Ibi Zaboy and Yusafa Salame. I'm sorry if I butchered that. I feel like I did butcher that. Yikes. This is just a pretty cover. Like, it's just so simple, and like the spine and the back is just continues right here. This is a book that is written in verse, and if you don't know, it's like poetry style. So it's like that throughout the novel, and I didn't read this one yet. I'm just trying to save this one for like a reading slump. So I feel like this is just a perfect book to get you out of your reading slump, if you know what I mean. This one I know nothing about, except it's kind of, I don't know if it is based on a true story or not, but I know it's inspired by real life events that have been happening. But yeah, I'm real excited to read this one, if that's a word you can say for these type of books. The next book I shown off on my channel already, and that is Ironheart by Nina Valeria. Very blurry. This is a sequel slash finale to the Crier's Word duology, and if you saw my September wrap up, you know I read Crier's War, and I really enjoyed it. So I started this one again, but I just haven't been feeling like completing some series lately. I don't know why. But I am hoping to finish this one sometimes this month. If not, then I'll restart it in November. The next book my friend Charlie also gave to me, but I forgot to show that off when I showed the other two books that they gave me, and that was The Inheritance Game by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This one I know nothing about, except it's a YA mystery thriller, and then on the tagline it says, "She came from nothing, they have everything, let the game begin." It sounds very like creepy and perfect time for like October. And I think Charlie, they said that they read this book, or they just wasn't interested in it and they had a finished copy. So they got me The Inheritance Game, and I'm really excited to read this one. It sounds like the perfect book to read in the month of October. And getting down to the final three books that I have for the month of September are new releases, and that is Fable by Adrienne Young. I love this cover so much. I can't wait to read this one. This got picked for the Witherspoon Book Club for October, so I'm going to start this one very soon. And then I have The Silver Serpent by Roshani Chokshi, the sequel to The Gilded Wolves, which I didn't really enjoy The Gilded Wolves, but I'm going to reread that one this year and then read this one finally. And then last but not least, I have Vampires Never Get Old, Tales with Fresh Bite, edited by Zodoria Cordaro and Natalie C. Parker. So thank you so much. That was everything in my October book haul. If you love this video, or September book haul, sorry. If you love this video, please give me a big thumbs up, as it will help me. If you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, please hit subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys later. Hope you have a great day or night, and I'll talk to you guys down in the comments below. Bye.